Hey, it's Matt with an Uplink tech spot. I'm going to install IBM MQ on a Linux server. The first steps, or the first half of the steps, are going to be done as the root user, and then the second half is the MQM user. So if you're an administrator, this will help you with setting up any kind of installation recipe or possibly configuring a customized container. So these are the core steps you'll need to get MQM up and running in hopefully under 5 minutes. So let's add that MQM user. The next step we need to do is check that the limits are where IBM MQ requires. On CentOS 7.7, the only one we had to modify is the number of file handles. And then we'll use the syscontrol P command to apply those changes without a reboot. Next, we want to install any dependent RPMs. Nothing too crazy here, shouldn't blow up any policies or standards you might have. Once those are installed, we can grab the IBM MQ installation media. IBM has changed their policies. They're a little more lenient to have a localized developer, like on your developer workstation installation. But as with any kind of software, make sure you check with your organization to make sure that it meets with any of your enterprise policies. Once it's down, we're going to extract the media. There's a folder called the MQ server folder inside this tarball, and that's where the RPMs and other supporting files are going to be. So we're going to go into that folder. I like to go ahead and accept the license now before I do any other installation steps. This list of RPMs is pretty standard. There's one key one we're doing for this installation, which is the MQ series samples. This is going to give us a sample program to put and then get a message off the queue just to validate that we have the installation working. Additionally, I've included the extensions to do the other protocols like AMQP and MQTT. Now that those RPMs are installed, we need to switch over to the MQM user and finish the second half of the installation as the non-root user. Next, we need to create the queue manager, and then we start the queue manager. Once the queue manager is running, we want to set a couple settings and then create a couple objects. I like to set a default max message size of about 4 megs. The product only allows up to 100 megs, and 4 megs seems pretty good for most messaging environments. The objects we're going to add are a listener, which is how clients will connect it over a network socket, and we're using the default port here of 1414. Then we're going to add a channel. A channel is a little bit of a funky kind of object, nothing you can really relate to in any other product like databases or anything. It's a combination of a thread pool, but it also handles the SSL connections. So it's separate from the listener. It's kind of its own deal. And then lastly, we're going to create our queue, which we're going to use to put and get messages to validate the installation. So the name of that queue I created here is order.input. Once those objects are created, we're ready to use that program to put a message. And so here I'm putting a message body called test message 1. And I'm going to add test message 2 to our order input queue. And then I'm going to use the test get command to pull those messages off, and you can see it pulled 2 messages with the message bodies that we expected. So there you go, IBM MQ installed in under 5 minutes.